From the Gopher locker room here at TCF Bank Stadium, welcome to Sunday Night Overtime with Coach Claeys, your weekly look back at everything that transpired on a Gopher Football Saturday. And in this case, for a second straight week, it was a Gopher victory, a 34-32, basically last-second win with a game-winning field goal against Rutgers right here, about 50 yards that way. And we're here with the head coach, Tracy Claeys. Coach, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
5-2, 2-2 now in the Big Ten. Give us your general thoughts before we dive into some specifics about a very eventful ball game yesterday. A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, no question. But yeah, to get back to 500 in the conference and go to 2-2, and you know, you always say that you have to play and win in October, and obviously for November to mean something. And that's our goal, is to get to November and still have an opportunity to play in the Big Ten West. And so we've been able to win the last two, and also there's a thing that if you lose a game at home, you need to get two back on the road, and so you know, this week we need to try to get one back to help our chances to still have an opportunity in November.
When you jumped out to the 21-3 lead, I think everybody there realizes it's still the first quarter. There's still a lot of game to be played. The general instinct is, how are we not going to relax in this situation? And you talked post-game. You thought that you did lose your edge just a little bit. There were some concentration things, and you talked about wanting to play for an entire 4 quarters. You're still looking to do that. What's the secret to that there? Because everybody knows at 21-3, don't relax, yet somehow it still happens.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, you know, playing against, you know, kids do look at Rutgers, and they hadn't won a Big Ten game yet, and so I thought, you know, they came out great. We had a great week of practice, and we got out of the gates early, and I just think it's one of those things where they thought, well, since they haven't won, they'll give in, and you know, and I know what Coach Ash is going through when you try to establish something. A lot of it is game to game and just playing hard, and so we started missing a few tackles in the second quarter. We didn't play as well, and same thing, missed a few blocks up front, dropped a couple balls, and I think all of that's just about losing your edge a little bit, and they battled back and you know, got it close there. They're a little closer at halftime and scored, and we weren't able to put any points on the board in the second quarter. I think if we could have put some points on the board in the second quarter, it may have helped things a little bit. And then, you know, obviously in the second half, it was a good ball game. Went back and forth, and they made an interception return for a touchdown, and that probably gave them the spark that they needed and got them within. You know, they missed the extra point, but otherwise would have been tied. So. But at the same time, you know, every time we've gotten those situations, our kids have made the plays they've had to make at the end for the most part and give us a chance to win. You know, the muff punt, obviously not happy about that, but for defense to stop them 3 and out, make them kick the field goal, and then the nice return we got to set us up. And we played physical and played hard that last drive, and we made some runs, and Rodney did a good job and get it down there, and you know, so and Emmett putting it through the uprights, and so it made it more exciting than what it probably should have been. But at the same time, that's kind of the game of football. It takes 60 minutes to win.
A reminder to get your Facebook questions in. We'll get to those after Sights and Sound. You can just drop a question into the comment section here on the Gopher Football Facebook page, and we'll try to answer as many as we can in our second segment. You mentioned the pick six. Mitch throws it, they house it, they miss the extra point. The building is very quiet at that point, and very quickly after that, it's on fire again because Rodney Smith takes the next kickoff back for a touchdown. Another unbelievable day for him. It seems like we're talking about him every week. He's impacting your team in so many different ways.
Yeah, he really is. And in the return game, he had a big day. They chose to kick it away and kick it to him, and so he continued. He caught a big ball in the first quarter down the sidelines for us, and so, you know, a lot of things we choose to do and what we do is built around him and Shannon, obviously, what we feel they're good at, and so. But yeah, our return game all day long did a good job of field positioning, except for the one muff punt.
Rodney Smith, by the way, leads the Big Ten right now in all-purpose yards. That factors in everything, you know, receiving, rushing, and obviously kickoff and punt returns. You mentioned the muff punt and then the good returns as well. Special teams were all over this game, whether it was the return from Rodney or the field position that you seemingly had pretty good field position all day given your good returns. It just shows that it's always a 3-phase game.
No question. And you take out, we missed the field goal early, but like Emmett, I mean, hey, next time you get out there, you go through your same routine. It's next play mentality, and he did a great job of going through his routine. They tried to ice him, and he put it through. And so, like I say, it wasn't always pretty, but we made the plays we had to make when we needed to make them. And, you know, we got some injuries again in the offensive line there in the second half, and that made things a little bit tough. But, when I look at back and I look to kids, we got to be better in short yardage. We didn't play real well in short yardage situations. And then, defensively, we went through a span there where we were having a little trouble stopping the run against them. And so sometimes, that's why everybody says, well, run the ball. You're on the boundary, you just see the other team just chunking it out a little bit at a time and moving the chains. It does. It gets a little uneasy and takes away a little bit of your energy. And we need to do a better job in that area of stopping the run. But it's all their learning experience, and you always like to learn when you win.
On the stopping the run part, at least defensively, it seemed like, I think even in Rutgers, one of their touchdown drives, they were having great success on first down, and it seems like we've talked about that. Everybody wants to look at third down conversion rate. It's the one that everybody highlights, but often that's a total product of what's happening on first and second down. Was that the case yesterday a little bit?
Yeah, and the missed tackles. As the first guy misses a tackle, and you think you're going to have a team in 2nd and 7 or 8 or 3rd and 7, and you miss a tackle, next guy gets now it's 3rd and 2 or 2nd and 3, and that's a whole different ball game. The odds are against you in that regard. So, like I say, got a little sloppy there after getting the big lead. Hopefully we'll learn from that. But at the same time, like I say, I was pleased with the way we prepared last week. Hopefully we prepare the same and can get out of the gate again early against Illinois.
On the final drive, you need points in that scenario. At what point did you know, okay, we've got it kind of where we want it, where we can start playing for the field goal and start milking the clock? Because I don't want to say there was an urgency, but it was clear that's what you guys were trying to do. So I'm curious when you made that call.
Yeah, it's just one of the things I told Coach Johnson, hey, let's move the change. Let's see where we get to and see what happens. So we were able to get there. And then, for us, pretty much it's the 30-yard line. I'd like it be a little bit closer. And so that's why there towards the end there's a big run there with Rodney. And 3rd and 1, he breaks it and breaks out there and really gets it to the short distance. And then the next play we called was simply to put the ball more in the middle of the field. And again, they did a good job of executing, and we had the timeout at the end to save for the clock. So we've done a pretty good job in those situations, the end of the half and the end of the games. Even, like I said, we had to throw in the end zone against Iowa at the end, and we've had our opportunities. And so I was confident in our kids we could get that done.
Last call for Facebook questions. We'll get to them in just a second. A reminder, if your question is picked, you might be the Minnesota Lottery question of the night. You'll pick up a nice Minnesota Lottery gift pack for your efforts. So get those questions in now. We're going to get to those in just a minute. But if you weren't here for homecoming at TCF Bank Stadium yesterday, a 34-32 victory over Rutgers, you missed quite a bit, and we get you caught up with something we like to call Sights and Sound.
You ready? Go! Are you ready? Break out! Woo! 4 quarters. Yeah. Every play. Yeah. All day. Yeah. One team. Yeah. One heartbeat. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Hand off to Brooks. Diving up and over and a touchdown. This time he didn't lower anything. He went airborne. Leitner out of the pistol, and he's going to keep it and waltz in. Touchdown. Here's Smith on the kick. Far side 10, gets to the 20, has a seam to the 30, to the 20, 15, 10, touchdown!
Outstanding return by Rodney Smith.
2 win it for Minnesota. Spot is down, the kick is up, and it is good! Emmett Carpenter drills the 28-yard field goal.
You have to tell Tyler Moore to ease up on the kicker there. I know you want road graders, but it's supposed to be for the other team.
No question. We don't need any injuries there.
So it was a fun ball game here yesterday. If you're into entertainment, you're into ebb, and you're into flow, you certainly got your money's worth yesterday. And we got a bunch of questions here on Facebook, Coach, that we'll get to now, including our Minnesota Lottery question of the week. Let's start with Andrew, who wants to talk about some of the young guys. Everybody's always curious about the young guys. You've mixed and matched with a lot of different people. As you graded them out this last game, how do you think the young guys played?
Again, Tyler Johnson had a big catch there for us in the game, and so I think he played well. On the defensive side of the ball, I think our young guys continue to improve and be a big part of what we're doing. So that's why I get excited. You look out there, and for the most part, our seniors are playing well, and then our young guys are, and so we've got something here that we're going to fill quite a few holes next year again with kids who played a lot and played well in the Big Ten. So any time that that those young guys can come in and contribute as many as we've had contribute, I mean, obviously the future is very bright for that, and less holes you have to worry about filling.
Let's go to Riley next for our Facebook question. Riley wants to talk defense, specifically just some of the adjustments that need to be made to get the defense back on track a little bit after 2 really good performances. I know there were some things you wanted to clean up from yesterday.
Yeah, but not as much as what some people would think. You know, I think defense nowadays, people look at the scoreboard and say, oh, they gave up 32 points. Well, 9 of those I don't think the defense gave up.
Sure.
You know, on the muff punt is we made them go 3 and out, you know, and so the field goal. So to me, that's not on them. And then obviously the interception for a touchdown, I mean, we're standing on the sideline, so there's nothing we can do about that. So, you know, I look at it more as we gave up around 23 points a game, and you know, we were missing some guys, and we need to make sure we get them back. But had it not been for the 190-yard drive, I would have said, hey, defensively, we played pretty good under the circumstances that we had. But we did give up the 190-yard drive that you can't do on that long a field. You know, so we have things to work on a little bit. I was more the missed tackles more than anything, and so we'll make sure that we do some tackling drills, which we do every week in practice. But you know, we've held people under 30 points for the most part, and that sounds funny, but you know, you hold them in that range and you're going to have an opportunity to win. Under 28 points, you're going to have an opportunity to win each week. So we can do some things better, but it's not as if we're playing bad.
You've talked a little bit about offensive line, some injuries that happened yesterday. Our next Facebook question is from Nelson. Wants to know about Jonah Persig, someone who you clearly want to get back as soon as possible. And I know you gave a little bit of an update today, but for those that have missed it, how you think he's coming along? You
know, he's progressing well, and so we'll get to Tuesday and see. I don't know. I think this week will be a stretch, but I think the following week is a lot better chance. But he feels good. I know the trainers, the doctors feel good about what he's doing and how he's progressing. But it'll probably be one more week. Now the good news is that, you know, Donnell Green's come in and just the second time he's played, he continues to get better. So we're building a little bit of depth with his injury.
What is Jonah? You brought him on the trip to Maryland.
Yeah.
And sometimes injured guys get injured and they can't travel or they can't be around for whatever the reason, but he's been pretty involved and pretty engaged from what I understand. What has his mere presence meant to some of those guys, maybe even Donnell specifically?
Well, that's basically what I told him. You know, is, hey, you're Donnell's coach. You keep your eyes on him all the time during practice and help him out, and when he asks questions when he comes out. And so, you know, you get to travel 70 players when you go on the road, whether they're injured or not. Most people take 70 healthy ones, but every now and then I'd rather not take kids if they're not going to play at all, and you get a chance to take a couple upperclassmen that can help and, you know, on the boundary during the game, and so that's why Jonah's been going along.
Our last question tonight from Facebook comes from Tony. He will be our Minnesota Lottery question of the week. Tony will get a Minnesota Lottery gift pack, and he wants to talk offense. We kind of did the defense. One thing that you definitely want to fix or improve before this next game against Illinois offensively, what's that?
It's a short yardage. I mean, if you have a yard to go, I think you got to make it, you know, and so we got to do a better job in the short yardage, and a little bit of that is mess with the cadence a little bit. You know, they were stemming and moving around on us on the short yardage, and I think that put a little bit of hesitation in the guys up front. But you know, when I look at things, is that was the biggest thing that stood out. We got good yards on first down, second down. We get it to third and short, or, you know, when we threw the interception, that's a short yardage play, and we end up rubbing each other off on the crossing route. And so we need to make sure we spend a lot of good time in that short yardage situation.
Does an offensive line coach take it personally when the short yardage stuff doesn't? I remember Coach Kill coming over early when you guys got here, just going for 4th and 1s, and you were either getting them or not. And there's such an emphasis. I mean, that's like the ultimate offensive line coach dream, right? A 4th and 1 situation, just to kind of, you know, push people back.
Right, and especially in the fourth quarter to try to win the game, and that's when you try to do some of those things. And like I say, is that not all of it was the kid's fault because of the moving around. And we need to do a little bit of difference with the cadence part, but at the same time, hey, we need to get a body on a body and move somebody. Our 2 backs are good enough to get that yard as long as we don't let somebody go free.
Thanks to everybody that submitted Facebook questions. If you weren't able to get in on tonight's show, don't forget we're going to be here the rest of the way, the rest of the regular season and into bowl season on the Gopher Football Facebook page. Still plenty of opportunities to get your question in on Facebook and on Twitter as well. earlier in the day. And congratulations to Tony on being the Minnesota Lottery Question of the Week. We'll wrap it up, Coach, with a look ahead to Illinois. You go to Champaign, haven't been there in a couple of years. What do we know about Lovie Smith's now fighting Illini?
Yeah, Lovey's a very successful NFL coach, and just like in the first year, like a lot of people up and down, they handled Rutgers pretty good, and so we'll have a battle on our hands going on the road. It's never easy to win the conference, and they're trying to do the same things. Have a solid running game and play good on defense, and they've had some injuries at quarterback also, so we're not sure what's going to happen there, but it'll be a big challenge on the road again, and again, we'll need to make sure we're prepared and ready to go.
Congratulations on the win yesterday, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
That's the head coach, Tracy Claeys. The Gophers are 5-2, 2-2 in the Big Ten. They go for win number 6 in Champaign, where they got win number 6, I believe, in Coach Kill and Coach Clay's second year here all those years ago to become bowl eligible back in 2012. Thanks, everybody, for the questions tonight. Thanks for watching, and thanks, as always, to the Minnesota Lottery. From all of us here at Sunday Night Overtime with Coach Claeys, we'll talk to you next Sunday night.